Hi there. Hello, I'm Paula, and today I'm playing with the Create This Book 3 by Mariah Elizabeth again. And I'm super excited because this has become my creative play. I am a full time artist, but this is just like a break from everything, and I really, really enjoy it. Today, I want to tell you, I want to approach the book a little bit differently because the pages I've done in the past that are a little bit interactive, where I can move something, are my favorites. I want it to be kind of like a pop-up book, or no, more like a soft book, the ones they make for babies, where the pages are not something you just look at, but you can touch them or move stuff. I don't know, let's see what I can come up with. I'm really excited about today, so let's do it.
Here's the book, and the first prompt I'm going to create today is the one I didn't finish, or rather, the one I skipped on last video. It's said to create resistance, something heavy on something light. And the reason I skipped the prompt was because I couldn't come up with anything for it at the moment. But now, thanks to Macy, who commented on my last Create This Book video and gave me suggestions, I know what to make. She was kind enough to give me three ideas, and all of them were so good. But I finally chose to do the little mouse holding weights. I decided to stage my scene by having my little mouse on top of a piece of cheese because that creates even more resistance, right? And of course, like I said, he's holding, kind of struggling with this big weight. As you can see, I drew all of my little mouse and I drew the barbell separate because this is the element I want to try to make interactive for the page. Also, I am going to bring my brand new Ohuhu markers. Is that how you pronounce them? Ohuhu. I want to try them out, and yes, I smell them because they smell like brand new plastic. Mm. I'm going to use them to paint this, but first I wanted to see if the pen I'm using for lining will smudge with the markers going on top. And I tried that out and it didn't, so that made me super ready to start painting. I then of course traced everything, cleaned up those pencil lines, started swatching the colors to see what I was going to use, polished my drawing a little bit, fixed the mouse, its body, and gave him eyes and a nose. And of course, he has this expression of struggle. I also added a tail, which I had completely forgotten to do. It's a little wonky because I didn't do it in pencil first, but it's fine. These markers feel great for now. They're very enjoyable. It's super fast to paint with them. But when I started doing the cheese, it came out very streaky. I don't know yet at this point how to use them properly, so for now, I left it like that, streaky. I then cut both of my pieces, my mouse and the barbell. And once I cut, I just took a little time to go over those edges with a black micron pen again, and finally gave my mouse some rosy cheek. With that, the illustration was ready, so I went ahead and cut a paper hinge from a little piece of cardboard to add movement to the whole thing. I'm going to show you how I made the paper hinge later because I actually did have to make a new one. I decided I needed the whole thing to have a background for the hinge to work properly, so I cut a piece of this orange cardboard to size, and now I'm ready to put everything together. I use my mouse to reference where its hand is going to fall on the paper, and I mark that spot because that's where the paper hinge is going to go through so that the little barbell can move a bit. Bear with me through this whole process because I'm making everything up as I play. Every time you see me bring out my Create This book, believe me, it's going to be an experiment of creativity for both of us. So, what you do for the paper hinge is you draw a circle and then a smaller circle inside with two parallel lines through the middle. You cut the circle and cut slits on those lines. These become flaps that you bend for the hinge to work. So I put my paper hinge to the side, and now I need to make a hole in the piece of paper. And I do have a one hole paper punch, but it won't reach that part. I opted to cut that hole with an X-Acto knife, and then I used a color pencil to make the hole rounder and bigger. Now I could take the paper hinge and put it through the hole, and once I do that, I try it out and see that it's not moving properly, and it's probably because of all that extra paper that pushing the pencil through created, like a little lump. So again, with the X-Acto knife, I cut some of the extra paper off and put my hinge through, bending the flaps in the back, and now it works properly. I use a little piece of double-sided tape to attach the part of the hinge that moves to the barbell, and it's important that it's only the barbell that's glued to the paper so it will be able to move. Same thing with the mouse. Now I'm attaching it to the paper. I'm not putting glue underneath its hand so that the paper mechanism that I created can work properly. The illustration is ready, so I bring my book back so I can paste it in, and of course I add glue to the whole perimeter of the page, and the page is finished. Do not put glue behind the paper hinge. Now, I had all of this free space on the page, so I decided to put a little quote on it, and it says, "Your only limit is you." I love that for this illustration because the little mouse is certainly not letting his size get in the way of training. With that high note, we're moving to our second prompt, and it's on the next page. It says to create an I Spy page. So that's what I'm gonna do, sort of. It says to create a chaotic scene, so I'm creating a messy artist's desk. And in it, I want to have some little creatures hiding. I'm starting by bringing an extra piece of paper again because I know I'm going to need more paper to try to make my idea come to life. And also because these alcohol markers bleed and I don't want to stain the rest of my book. Once I measure the paper out, I cut the two pieces of paper and I create a fold and hold them together to mimic the effect of the pages going into the spine of the books. I do this so they'll fit well once I paste them in the book. I start sketching out a scene and I'm trying different out compositions until I get something I like. When I'm happy with the composition, I of course trace everything with the black micron pen, and after erasing all of the lines, I am ready to paint. So here are my new markers again, and they did come with a little catalog and a swatch card, but I'll get to fill that someday, I guess. I color everything in, and because I'm not using the swatch card, I'm trying out the colors on an extra piece of paper. I now also realize that instead of painting large areas with stripes, it's much better for me to just use the markers in circles, and then you don't see the stripes. I'm still getting the hang of these markers, so it's not perfect, but it's good enough. I choose the colors as best as I can, but the set I got doesn't really have all the colors I want. I don't really have a bright red that I wanted to use for the spilling paint. Since I only have one tube of paint on my scene, I thought it would be fun for it to be rainbow, but the colors are just not there. Anyhow, I color everything and it looks a little bit dull. But it's okay, I still like it. I decided to paint the canvas on the easel to look like a Kandinsky painting, just for fun. And once I have the scene completely painted, I grab an extra piece of white paper and I start looking for places where I can hide my little creatures. I had fun designing all of these little guys. I really wanted one hanging from a paintbrush and just hiding in the paint water, so that's my favorite idea. And then I just continue having fun and playing by creating each one of them. I go back and forth, trying things, changing designs, just making sure that they will have more or less the space they need. And if I'm not really happy with one, I just keep playing and cleaning until I have the 5 monsters that I'm going to use in this page. Are they monsters? Creatures. So now I trace with my micron pen the ones that I like best, and I want to color them in bright colors so they will contrast with the kind of dull desk colors. And my daughter has very kindly filled the swatch card for me, so now I have a better idea of what colors I'm going to be using, and I just enjoy the process of painting these little guys. I love the little sparkling personality of this pink one. I'm calling her Sparky, but maybe my favorite still is the one that's holding on to the brush. It's so cute. When I'm done coloring all of my creatures, I cover them up with packing tape because the packing tape makes it easier to cut small details. I do the same thing with my desk scene. I cover it in packing tape to protect it. And once everything is covered and cut, I take my X-Acto knife and make a little door in the painting. I also cut both sides of the spilling paint for hiding places. And now it's finally time to bring in the book and put my whole page together. This is the most exciting part. I'm going to try to make my idea work. So basically what I do is glue my drawing to the page, making sure of course that I'm not gluing the parts that open up to hide the creatures. I do the same on the other side, but the difference on this side is that I know I want this long looking thing. What should we call him? Spike. It's actually Spike because his teeth, he has an underbite. So I'm thinking that's how he says his name. Spike. Well, Spike has the Spike has to be able to go in and out, so for that to happen without it moving from its place, I take a couple of pieces of double-sided tape and secure them to the back. That way he's going to be guided by the tape when he comes in and out again. I put glue only in the parts that I know don't have any creatures hiding in them. Once both pages are in, it's time to put all of the rest of the creatures in. So I grab those and I start gluing them into place. The prompt also said to include a spy search, and since I don't really have a list, I chose to write, I spy with my little eye 5 little creatures playing with my art supplies. And then I put a speech bubble around all of it, so it looks like whoever's saying that, it's out of the scene. Well, that's the second prompt done, and I actually thought I was gonna have time to do a third page, but I ran out of time. I'm gonna show you my intended third page at the end. But what I have to show for today is my cute little mouse with the moving barbell, and of course the artsy desk full of creatures you can pull out like Spike. You can open the little window to find another one. He needs a little name too. And then there's this lizard looking starry fellow here and the sparky little pink creature here. And last but not least, my beautiful creature that's hanging on from the brush, for which I definitely want a cute name. If you want to help me name it, please suggest some names in the comments. I definitely want to draw this character again. And here's that page I wanted to play with today. I still want to make it interactive, so if you want to see that, let me know in the comments, or let me know if you would like me to do a Create This Book live again, so we can create together and I can get your suggestions on real time. That's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this Create This Book video as much as I did playing with it. And if you did, please like, comment, or share. It helps my little channel grow a lot. And I'll see you next week. Have the most beautiful day. Bye!